I am now excited to welcome to the stage Jason Buechel, the CEO of Whole Foods Market and Vice President of Amazon Worldwide Grocery Stores. Give him a round of applause. He has a lot of Row 7 and a lot of Lundberg in his stores.
I do, and just so honored to be going after Dan and Bryce today.
I know, it's great.
What an amazing event.
It's so good. It's so good to have all these folks together. So, Jason, Whole Foods celebrated its 45th anniversary yesterday.
Happy
correct. Birthday.
Yes, thank you very
Round
much.
of applause. I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about that journey from the first stores opening in 1980 to where you all are today.
Yeah. Well, I think what's important to call out is like what stayed the same. For us, this was about helping create a place where customers could enjoy the highest quality natural and organic foods. And at the same time, it was helping set quality standards, looking at a purpose and core values. And while sometimes the words have changed over the course of the last 45 years, that has really been the foundation and the ethos of the company. And we sort of look at our role as being the spearhead and being able to help support the movement, especially in the organic industry, helping support climate-friendly agriculture practices like regenerative and organic, to helping just make sure there's better standards in place overall for the animals and our animal welfare standards, looking at sustainable seafood sourcing standards, the work that we are doing to make sure that the worker is taken care of as well as the communities that we support. And so being the tip of the spear and helping lead that change has been part of the journey over the last 45 years. And that continues today as, you know, we now have almost 540 stores, or 539 at the current moment.
Wow.
So
yeah. So obviously Whole Foods has always been interested in organic, but now there's this growing interest in regenerative organic and that kind of certification. What opportunity do you think that presents for retailers like yourself, but also others?
Yeah. Well, one of our goals here, you know, and I mentioned just a bit ago, like we were the tip of the spear in helping support the growth of the organic industry. And actually, one of the other things we're really proud of is we just, you know, hit the 20-year mark of being the first and now the only national grocer who is certified organic. And, you know, for me, that's something we're really, really proud of. But one of the things that we wanted to be able to do is help increase the opportunity for farmers to support the practices that are ultimately going to allow us to protect the future of our food systems. And so what we want to do is let's make the tent bigger. Let's find ways by which we can get more farmers and producers to support the work that we need to do. And I think, you know, how many folks here work for a supplier or farmer that, you know, has focused on organic? My guess is we've got quite a few folks. It's tough. It's, you know, this is years and years and years of work. And what we want to do is incent folks to start taking the steps towards goals like that, and regenerative can be one of those steps. And ultimately, there's steps that go along in the process. You know, I look at, you know, what in my mind, what is the, you know, top position you can be in, which is regenerative organic certified. And we know our friends at Lundberg have helped lead the way there. And not everybody is prepared to get to there on day one. And so the work that we've done has helped ensure that there's standards in place. So all of our suppliers are required to actually have third-party verification in that space and certification. And we have multiple certifiers so we can cover the breadth of products that we want to be able to carry in our stores. And by, you know, ensuring that there's actually something that stands behind it, that's the important step here. The piece that I worry about is if we're in a place where people just start using the word, oh, we're practicing regenerative, we're putting it on our label, and it doesn't mean anything. I worry that it sort of turns into the word natural, which at this point you can throw it on, you can throw it on any label, and it doesn't have to really mean anything. And so I think we need to help make sure it stands for something, and ultimately it's helping serve a purpose, which we want to be able to protect the future of our food system for future generations.
Absolutely. To make it stand for something, the transition takes a while, and I wonder how you help farmers who are trying to transition to organic or regenerative organic certified regenerative certified organic.
Yes.
Sorry.
And so I think some of the most important parts here are making sure we're addressing the challenges that come up. You know, first, access to capital is a major problem in the process. And so we do work with our suppliers in providing things like our local producer loan program, which is helping work with some of our smaller suppliers. We actually help fund and support some of our larger suppliers as well. And then another piece is making sure that we provide the commitment And so one of the challenges in this space is, if you're looking for a return on investment here in year one, you're probably not going to get it. Year two, you're probably even challenged. But there's opportunities, and we've seen this with countless suppliers, where they're able to make an investment. It actually becomes more profitable for them over the long term. But it takes that first step. And so if we can work with these suppliers to create an opportunity where they can have a sustainable business that can be profitable and support the needs of our customers, we can help put some of those commitments out there. So they know when they have to take that leap and they're looking to get the capital, they've got an assurance that this product is going to actually go somewhere. And so for us, it's finding these win-wins so we can help support the change that we want to help.
That de-risking is so important. Do you think other retailers will take that on, especially in this economic environment?
Well, from talking with suppliers, this is an area that they've had a lot of challenge with. A lot of other folks will not, support some of those steps. And if we want to drive change, that's one of the things that we have to be able to do is support our farmers. For them to make this investment, if they don't have an outlet for their supply, it's ultimately not going to be the right business answer for them. And if they don't have sustainable businesses, it's not going to put us in the right footing here.
Absolutely. I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about this concept of a biodiversity superhighway. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so we recently launched a new program that I'm really excited about, and it builds upon some efforts that we've done for a while around prairie strips, which I'm guessing many of the folks in the audience are aware of. And so the team had the idea of how do we take this and amplify it in a bigger way. So what we're looking to do is actually connect farmlands together. And so we're calling it our Biodiversity Superhighway. So it's taking the same elements of what you might do with a prairie strip, where you're looking to help invest and ensure that you're not only promoting biodiversity, but you're looking at the soil health, the water quality. Bryce was talking a little bit about just the overall ecosystem and how do you support that with all the different living creatures and microbiomes and such. And for our goal here is that it's not just on a group of fields, but we're actually connecting fields together. And so unlike a highway around the country, which might, as you're putting those in place, might require detours and extra traffic, ours are intended to help support biodiversity in a much faster way.
That's so cool. What is the reaction you're hearing from people?
The first reaction was the outreach of suppliers saying, when can we be part of this effort? And so it's one of those that, like many projects, we have to figure out how do we make sure we can prioritize, allocate the resources. But this is one that I've had so much excitement from our suppliers and quite frankly, our team members as well. So hearing this has been great on that front.
That's great that you have that team support behind it as well. You and I have talked a lot about the economic benefits of preventing food waste in retail. I'm wondering if you can share some thoughts.
Yeah. Well, for me, food waste is something I'm just really passionate about. And if you address it in the right way, this is one of those examples where you can have win-win-win-win impacts. The reality, today is that we actually have a lot of food that goes to waste. We have a lot of people who are underserved and don't have access to food. And ultimately, we are having a lot of food waste ending up in landfills. And so there's negative impacts that are showing up across the board. And so, our process is first to figure out how do we make sure that we are ordering, producing, working with suppliers so we're not in a situation where we have extra product at the end of the day as much as possible. In grocery, we all know it can't be perfect, especially if we're dealing with perishable. And so our first step is how do we find opportunities where we can make sure that the product is still available for human consumption? And so within our business, we found ways to bring programs that are great for customers. Two that I love to talk about. One's called Enjoy Today, where you get 50% off of product that will expire usually within the next few days. And the other is something called Too Good To Go, which is a partnership that we've been working with them on. And again, provides access for customers to buy product heavily discounted that will expire a little bit sooner. And so that's one option. The other one is we have a network of partners we work with across all of our stores to donate the food. And I'm just so proud of this because it allows us to actually help meet underserved individuals, and the partnerships that we've done. Again, we're continuing to find ways to have more and more opportunities to feed more folks that don't have access. And at the last step of it is making sure it doesn't go in the landfill. And so for us, it's been about composting. We've been standing up efforts for animal feed as well. And I'm just so proud of our stores where, they have a goal of putting no food in the dumpster. And in our Williamsburg, those of you who live in the city here, I always do a shout out to our Williamsburg store because they truly are a no food goes in that dumpster.
Wow.
They are working with their community partners. They're making sure we are composting, and ultimately this can be a positive not only for the business, so we have far less shrink. And so this is an opportunity for us to invest in other parts of our business. And at the same time, we've done something positive for the environment. We've done something positive for our community partners. And as we're working on a lot of the forecasting work and helping make sure we can improve ordering, it's better for our suppliers. Because, I mean, all of you who've been in that spot where we overorder and then all of a sudden there's the lull and there's an underorder, it's inconsistency within the business, and that creates ripple effects as well. So if we do this in the right way, we're going to balance things out and have a great positive impact for all stakeholders.
Yeah, so many win-win-wins.
Yes.
Goes on and on. We often talk about what we gain if we make healthier and regenerative products more accessible to eaters. But what happens if we don't continue pushing for progress? What will grocery store shelves end up looking like if we don't do that?
Well, I mean, first we're going to have I see a massive division that we'll sort of have in that space around just not having some of the access. But if you start to look into the broader future, ultimately, we're not going to have some of the products that we know and love on our shelves.
Right.
And that's the part that actually scares for me. And it depends upon what survey and study that you're sort of looking at in this space. But it's somewhere between the next 50 and 100 years. If we don't do something different from the conventional practices that we are doing today, we're not going to have the nutrient density in our soils that we need to support sustaining our food system. And this is something that I think the average consumer doesn't understand.
Right.
And, we don't just eat because it tastes great. Yeah, Dan was talking earlier about, some of the things we want to make sure that healthy food tastes great, but ultimately our bodies need it. Our bodies need the nutrients. And this is something that, is very concerning if we're not in a space where the nutrients that we're going to need to help support sustaining lives and healthy eating is going to be possible. And so for me, it's not something about the, should we do this? It's a matter of we have to, and how do we ultimately make sure that we can be the driving force to support the change. And while there's been some great progress, we still have a long way to go when you look at the efforts that we're up against on some of the conventional farming systems.
Right. And it can't just be producers and retailers pushing for that. We need government leadership on that as well.
And the consumer. So
And
there's
the consumer.
we have to make sure that consumers understand the importance, realize like we have a burning platform here. And at the same time, we need our elected officials to understand these steps as well and understand why some of our farmers can't support these efforts. And, for me, it's concerning. Every year we are losing more and more farmland. We are losing farmers. And ultimately, we're not making as fast a progress as we need to address the challenges in this space.
So, Jason, while we want eaters to make different decisions, they are confused and they are in precarious economic times. So I wonder how you sort of balance that, accessibility, availability, all of the choices that they have to make when they're like just scooting through a Whole Foods for 30 minutes at the end of the day.
Yeah, and one of our goals as Whole Foods is figuring out how do we continue to support the highest quality, but ultimately bring value into the equation as well. And this has been a really conscious effort over the last several years. Over the last 18 months, we've reduced prices on 25% of the items in our store. 1,000 of those have been on our 365 product. So our goal is helping get a great opening price point so we can provide greater accessibility. And what I'm so proud of is we get story after story of customers who discovered us not realizing, I can feed a family of 4 on a limited budget and we can eat high quality, great tasting food. And that's been an exciting, thing that we've really seen and some growth potential in bringing more customers into Whole Foods. And I think our challenge needs to be, as an entire industry, finding ways that we can continue to push on quality and value.
Right.
And I think, we're going to be in this situation here where in certain cases, folks will have to make decisions of what do I do, around balancing different parts about my business. I just challenge everybody, let's not cede on quality. Let's continue to make sure that the great work that we're doing, especially as it relates to climate smart agriculture practices, we're not pulling back on that just to bring a lower price point.
Absolutely. Jason, I'm trying to ask everyone to end on a call to action. So you have eaters in the audience, you have academics, you have investors, you have businesses like yourself. What do you want folks to do when they when they leave Climate Week on Friday?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that a term that we use at Whole Foods Market is called committed action. Mm-hmm. And it's something that we do after meetings, after events, and we help memorialize some things. And one of the things that I would challenge all of you to do as stakeholders that are part of our food systems is figure out, like, we all get together here and it's fun to talk and learn, but what are we going to do starting tomorrow so when we come back in 12 months, we can talk about the change that we've been able to help support and sustain. And I will say, like, it's events like this where our teams come back, and that's where our biodiversity type of product, it's like, how can we take prairie strips and elevate it? So it's taking the things that you're doing today, but we collectively are going to have to work together to continue to support the change that we need to drive to protect the future of our food systems. And so I always look at these events as sort of the point, as our calling action and our opportunity to work together. And it's not just the retailer, it's not just the farmer or the CPG company, it's all of us that have to work together.
Yeah.
And we have to ensure that our consumers, our customers understand why this work is important. We need to work with our elected officials and help explain why these challenges are out there and they're real and what's going to happen if we don't do something about it. And then we together have to stay unified in making sure that we can continue to move the ball forward in this space.
Great call to action. Thank you so much. Please
Thank you
give
so
him a
much
round of
for having
applause.
me. Thank you.
Thank you.